How y'all doing?
Well, good morning, citizens of Metropolis.
You guys hear me? On keyboard, we have Makad Brooks.
Yeah, we're going to introduce you to the band. And welcome to the 38th annual Metropolis Superman celebration. And this year we get to welcome two of the newest members of the DC TV universe and brand new to the CW this coming year. Now, if I mispronounce their names, you don't correct me. I don't need a whole bunch of people screaming at me. They'll set me straight. I want to introduce them to you. First, I want to introduce you to a man who was born 10 years after I graduated high school.
Sorry?
That's all I ever wanted. I feel so much better now. I've got closure. A lot of you women will remember him from Desperate Housewives. And will remember him in probably totally different dreams from True Blood. Some of the men will remember him from Necessary Roughness. What?
I watched that by myself.
Wasn't Scott Bakula in that movie? It wasn't a movie. That was unnecessary. So you're thinking of something else altogether. But he is our newest James Olsen from Supergirl, Makad Brooks.
Thank you guys. Love you.
And the best Superman.
Don't say that too loud. I think Martin Thor is here somewhere.
We're still waiting on the red hair and the bow tie, but you know,
I cut the hair. It's too hot for bow tie.
That's it.
If I do this in the spring next time, I'll do the bow tie.
Also, we also have a lot of people will remember him as Carlisle from the Twilight series. And as the kind and gentle and thoughtful doctor on Nurse Jackie. So please make welcome Mr. Peter Facinelli. Can I get a vote up?
Yeah.
All right, good. We are going to have our little Supergirl, who's also my daughter, which makes me Kryptonian, right? Okay. She's going to be walking around with a cordless mic. You'll raise your hand. You'll ask a question. They'll decide if they want to answer it or not. And then we'll move on to the next question. Please try to keep, because she has to move all over the place, so please try not to fill in the aisles so that she can move to the front and the back. And I'm going to ask the first one. Since Supergirl has now officially moved from CBS to the CW, a lot of people immediately thought, well, they're going to change everything. I don't know how many spoilers you are allowed to give, or even if, because you're on hiatus, if you've even gotten too deep into the season. Is there any major changes that you are allowed to tell us that moving from the first season to the second?
I think Supergirl, they're going to cut the CGI and you're going to actually see the strings now.
Yeah. So she's just going to jump off of buildings and fall. So it's going to be more exciting actually.
She doesn't fly anymore.
She just falls. Just like a rock.
She falls with grace and style.
Yeah. No, in all seriousness, no. We're actually going to be gaining some things. We'll be gaining some crossover potentials with the Flash, with Tomorrow, with the Arrow universe. We're going to gain more than we lose, actually.
And Superman.
And Superman's gonna show up. Yeah. He's gonna come pay us a visit up in Vancouver.
And since it's such an intimate group, just between us, you can tell us who's going to play Superman, right?
Yeah, this actor named Makai Brooks.
Christopher Walken.
I am Superman.
That would be Christopher.
Superman. Yeah, save the day.
Today I'm gonna save the world.
Girl.
And you can call me Christopher Flying now.
In my town.
This is Lex Luthor. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So going from Carmine.
Christopher Walken on there. I don't like Maxwell Lord at all. He bugs me.
It's actually really good.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. We don't want to kill too much time. I know we've got questions that are dying to be asked, so if you'll raise your hand, Supergirl will come to you.
This one's from Todd.
Yeah.
In the episode where you were actually the hero, Kara lost all her powers.
Right, human for a day.
Okay. You were up on that elevator. Was that you or was that a stunt double?
Oh, that was me, buddy.
You must have been sweating.
What's that?
You must have been sweating.
I was crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was plenty of fluids coming out of my body. It was bad. So I thought
It was all green screen. He's about a foot up.
No, that's not true. Not true. He wasn't even there that day.
And he was still
He
sweating.
was not there that day.
There was a foot, one foot up.
It was a 45-foot drop, and it's a true story. 45-foot drop, and I was like, "Yeah, I do this. Yeah." I did it twice. I was like, "Take me down. Take me down." I have a great stunt double. He's amazing. He did it like 11 times. I did it twice. So
Can we tell the story now? Has it been enough time to tell that story or no? You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, okay. So real quick, we don't take too much time.
This isn't a question, but I gotta tell you, it's funny now.
It's why we're such good friends now.
Now, yeah, it's time has passed and he's forgiven me. But you guys remember the scene where I have him tied up in the chair?
Yeah.
So I'm swinging this wrench around. This
Yeah,
wrench
he
is
used
like-
wrench.
Yeah.
And it was real.
Huge wrench. And so on the day they were supposed to use a crowbar, but then they thought no, a wrench would work better. So they didn't have usually they use like a fake wrench, but because they swapped it out for something else, and they had a real wrench.
Heavy.
And we were shooting this scene for a couple of hours, and I guess my arm was getting a little tired. And poor Makad's sitting in the chair, and I'm swinging it around, threatening him. And I go to switch it from one hand to the other, and it slides out of my hand, and it boomerangs around and catches him in the knee.
Right.
And Makad goes down. He didn't cry, but he went down.
Down goes Ocean. And I was handcuffed. I was like, this is supposed to be make-believe.
And so they actually had to shut production down. He went to the hospital. I felt horrible. I was calling him, texting him. He was like, "It's okay." And he was out for 2 days, right?
Yeah, it was alright. I mean, I was limping for about 11 months, and
he walks with a limp now, but it's a character thing.
Now
when you see him limping, you know why.
it's cool. It's cool.
But it was all good because it was his birthday the next week. So what did I get you for your birthday?
For my birthday, he came by my trailer and gave me a gang of a variety pack of
A
wrenches.
set of wrenches. And I said, if you ever need a day off, call me.
So, if you want your kneecaps broken, somebody owes you some money, you see Faginelli over here.
All right, we got Supergirl's over here with another question.
What was it like whenever you were on the set on Twilight?
Well, it's mostly
It was a lot of fun.
I mean, we shot in all different locations. First movie we shot in Portland, Oregon. Second movie we shot in Vancouver. Third movie was Vancouver, and fourth movie was in Louisiana. So the house that you see in those movies was like a traveling house. They kept rebuilding it in different places. The first house was actually the real house, and then they used it. They kept building this house in different locations. But as far as filming, it's like every other set. So Usually the actors get together and then I say something, they say something, I say something, they say something, then they call cut and that's the scene. But, I mean, as far as the other actors, because we did 5 movies together, it became like a family and I love them to death. And then like family, when they leave the house, you never see them again. But they still take my texts and they'll always be family to me.
Speaking of Twilight, can you tell us the process that brought you to that? Did you seek the role or did they come to you?
All right, you want the long story or the short story?
Right. We're here all weekend.
Okay. I'll tell you the long story. So they sent me this. They called me. They said, "Hey, do you want to be in a vampire movie?" And I said no. Because I was thinking like Bela Lugosi and like some like blood and gore and guts. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I didn't really. That's not what I wanted to do. So they said no, it's based on these books, and they sent me the book, and I thought, wow, it's a beautiful love story with a vampire backdrop, and the romantic in me was like, I'd like to do this. So so I went in and I read for it with Catherine Hardwicke, which was a fantastic process because Catherine actually read with me. And we read this scene where I'm hovered over Bella at the end of the first movie, and I'm like have my hand on her thigh. I'm trying to stop the blood. So Catherine was laying on the floor, and I have my hand on her thigh, crouched down on top of her. And I was like, if someone walks in the room right now, this is going to look really bad. But anyway, I guess I massaged her thigh well enough where she said, I like this guy. But it came down to like me and like 3 other actors, and I didn't get the role. And I kept calling my agent and said, hey, what's going on with Twilight? They said, no, they offered it to someone else because they wanted the character to look older than me. So they went with an actor that was like 10 years older than me. Are you bored yet? All right, I'll speed it up. So I was really bummed, and I went on another audition, and I'm sitting in the waiting room, and there's a book that said 50 Years of Vampire Making Through Hollywood, and it was like all these great vampire movies, and I thought, wow, the universe is rubbing it in that I didn't get this movie. So I took down the name of the book and I sent it to Catherine, a copy of this book, and I said, hey, sorry it didn't work out, hope you make a great vampire movie, and hope we get to work on something in the future. And the other actor, I guess, fell out because he was asking for a lot of money, or maybe he was busy on another project. And Catherine, they said, who do you want to go to next? And Catherine had just gotten my book that day.
Wow.
And she said, well, how about Peter Fagioli? He gives good thigh rubs. And he sent me a book. So I always joke with Catherine that I bought my role for $29.99.
That's good.
We have another question right over here.
This one's for Nicod.
Yeah.
Were you given any advice from previous Jimmy Olsens?
No, I was not actually. But to that point, I was actually really. The entire time I was shooting the pilot, I was terrified that I was going to be fired every 5 minutes because you're like, okay, so this character's 75 years old, he's well established, he looks nothing like
great
me.
for 75, by the way.
Yeah. We don't really look alike, you know what I mean? So I was kind of like, man, what do I do? And they're like, just be you. I go, but he's not me. I'm like, you've seen him, right? They're like, yeah, but we're going to change him. So it just kind of was like, no matter what I think people thought of the character, we're keeping the DNA of that character. And he is still the eyes and the ears of the audience to be in such close proximity to a superhero. But any advice I would have gotten, I'm not sure if it would have been applicable.
Did you read for the role?
I did. And I wrote Greg Berlanti's style.
So when you did you?
No.
Did you send him a book? When you read, I'm sorry, I'm taking over the questions because I'm curious now. When you read for it, did you go in thinking I'm going to play him kind of nerdy and quirky, or were you just I'm going to be me?
Well, here's the thing, because like
I go in there with glasses and a bow tie.
No. So I grew up as a huge Jimmy Olsen fan and a huge Superman fan. Period. So like I was very familiar with the Jimmy Olsen comics and who Jimmy Olsen was. And so I was like, when I got the audition, I go, they know I'm black, right? Wait, yeah. They know I'm black though, right? I was like, okay, cool. So I knew I couldn't play him as he'd always been, portrayed. So I went in as myself. Like I went in, and that's it's a testament to DC Comics, testament to Warner Brothers and CBS and CW.
So you went in shirtless?
No, I had a shirt on, for sure. I had a flannel shirt. I dressed like my little Austin, Texas self. And that's the thing, if anybody here ever wants to be something that people think you cannot be, just be yourself. Just be yourself.
All right, we got another question over here somewhere. Over here.
Patch Adams.
Patch Adams.
Thank you. Super, Dr. Patch Adams.
Super. Wow.
So, gentlemen, thank you very
created
much.
the character.
Yeah, that's true.
That's copyright infringement.
All of us. No, gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us here today. I'm Raj of Innovate. I'm actually a physician in training and also an entrepreneur. So I love what both of you have done in your careers, and I have a question directed at Peter. We have a healthcare group that helps train physicians in clinical medicine and entrepreneurship for the benefit of the patient in the long run.
Wow.
So I'm very curious to hear, for you, Peter, you played the doctor, now you played the billionaire entrepreneur. How much training exposure do you get to play this kind of role? Because we do it for real, so it's good to get kind of input from your end.
Well, I was doing Twilight and Nurse Jackie at the same time, so I just happened to get both of those roles right before. So I kind of shadowed a doctor at a hospital for a couple of days, just to kind of see what happens at a hospital, what they do. Because usually I go in as a patient, so I don't really know. So I got my medical degree in those 3 days.
It's not hard.
I can practice medicine in 3 states.
Yeah, it's not hard. I don't know what you guys go to school for that long for. It's weird.
You got a computer, you got Photoshop, you got a printer, you got a diploma.
But honestly, like once you look, I always say play the person, not the occupation. So just because you're a fireman or a doctor or a lawyer or a musician doesn't mean that you have to be a certain type. So it's really find the character, and whatever job they are is their job. But I did want to know some medical stuff. But mostly when you're doing those kind of medical shows or it's whatever's in the script, you have to know what it is. So a lot of stuff on Nurse Jackie, I would be Googling and finding out what that stuff is, and not necessarily know how to perform the operation, but at least know in my mind what I'm talking about. And then they always had a technician on staffs to show you like what you would do or where would you like check people. Look, listen, and breathe. Look, listen, and what is it? Look, listen, and feel, or whatever. Those are the first 3 things you do. And so there's always somebody there that'll help you.
Okay, fabulous. Is there anything you can say honestly that we as physicians are missing? Big question.
No, I mean, like I said, every physician is different. You know what I mean? Even if you take Carlisle Cullen as a physician and you put him next to Dr. Cooper as a physician, they're completely different. You know what I mean? So, I like Makad. Be you. Just be you.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
All right, any other hands up someplace? There's one right there, dead center.
I think it's karaoke time.
Maxwell Lord in Supergirl, whenever you were always wanting to watch Netflix, what movies did you like to watch on Netflix?
That's a great question.
Twilight, Nurse Jackie,
True Blood.
True Blood. Those were my first 3 go-tos. Supergirl, Superman.
McConnell's already said that he's a lifelong fan of Superman, the comic books. Peter, did you have any introduction to these characters, to this world, to the DC universe, or even the Marvel universe before accepting the...
I grew up getting Spider-Man comics. That was my favorite. But as far as Superman, I mean, everybody knows Superman movies, and I've watched them all and been a big fan of the comics. Supergirl, I didn't know that world as much. I had to look up Maxwell Lord because I didn't know, who he was. But there's so many different variations of Maxwell Lord in the comics. This was the first time he was being portrayed live. So luckily I got to build my own, presentation of him and not have to say, well, should I go off of somebody else's? But I like Maxwell Lord. I think, you know, he lives in a gray area, which makes a lot of people think. You know, everyone's like, he's a bad guy. I'm like, he does bad things for the greater good.
Just avoid Wonder Woman at all costs.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
Stay away. Stay away.
We have another question right here.
I have a question for both of you.
Sure.
First,
Makai. Yeah, cool. Thank you.
What is it like being chased after a nuclear-powered maniac in Supergirl?
You have to run really fast. The actor's name is Chris. Forget his name, but he's the nicest guy in the world.
He didn't hit him with a wrench or anything.
No, he didn't hit me with a wrench. But one of the nicest guys in the world, and so it's kind of funny. Like a lot of times you see these villains on TV, and they're just really cool people, right? And like they're just really nice people. So it's like we're like talking about whatever, you know. He surfs and the whole thing, and we're just kind of talking, and having a good time. And action. I'm like, whoa. It's kind of weird. And yeah, just run fast.
Maxwell. How do you feel like when you watch yourself in the last Twilight movie? How do you feel knowing you get your head ripped off?
You know, honestly, I got a little teary-eyed. I really did. I grew to love that character, and watching my head in someone else's hands, you know. It's, I know, it was just a dream. But well, when I first read the script, I was like, oh man, they killed me. And I thought, I don't get to do it, because all the other actors had this great battle sequence, and I was like, I don't get to do any of the action, because I'm dead within the first, 3 seconds. But it was sad watching, even if it wasn't me, it was sad watching that character get his head cut off. I remember taking my daughters, and they actually, one of them started crying. I don't know if it was because their dad had their head cut off or because that character had their head cut off, but it's always sad. I've died a lot of times, but never had my head cut off.
How did you feel once you realized you didn't actually get your head cut off?
Well, then you're elated. You're always elated to know that you lived for another day.
Now, are you two currently traveling? You're here together. Are you doing other conventions together as a team, or
we're just going on the road now? We're doing birthday parties, bar mitzvahs, quinceañeras,
grocery store openings,
pawn shop closings. You got a lot of free stuff there. Don't laugh. That's cool.
How long before you go back into production for Supergirl?
July 18th.
Wow.
We have a question about midway back.
Makai, with your relationship with Jenna Dewan on the show, does Channing Tatum ever come around and give you a hard time?
Yes, he does. Channing's one of the nicest people you ever want to meet. Just a great guy. But yeah, he comes by set sometimes, and then I'm like,
only during the kissing scenes.
I'm like this.
Does Channing show up?
I can't kiss her in front of Channing. He can ruin my career. It's horrible. No, he's great. They're both, consummate professionals. So, they both kiss other people for work. So
Tough job.
But have you ever had a dance-off?
I'm sorry?
Have you ever had a dance-off with Channing?
No, because I would lose. The question was, have I ever had a dance-off with Channing Tatum? And the answer is no. Have you seen him dance?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then no. Next question.
Almost in the back, we have a question.
I've seen a lot of Superman stuff, and I have a question. Is there going to be any villains from Superman going to be in the Supergirl season next season?
We don't know that. You know that?
You know what? Here's the thing. The funny thing about Hollywood is the actors are the last to know anything. So if you want to know something, never ask us. Right? You're like, you didn't know you were going to die until you met it, right? Right. So it's like, no, I don't. I hope so. Who do you want? What villain do you want?
Lex Luthor.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other hands? I see a hand straight back. Supergirl's on her way.
This is a question for both of you. With the internet and with fandom reacting in real time to your work, has that affected you, and how has that affected you, and has it changed the way you've approached the work?
Yeah, I cry myself to sleep every night. No, I think that I was on a press tour one time with a very successful producer named Jerry Bruckheimer, and I was reading the reviews of a movie that we did, and I said, I asked him, I said, have you read the reviews? He said, no. I go, why? He goes, because if I read, and I said, they're great. He goes, yeah, but if I read the good ones and I believe them, I have to read the bad ones and believe them too. So he just sort of stayed away from it. And I was, at the time I was like 25, 26 years old, and I was like, you know what, that's a great idea actually, because I can't just take a part of it and think that that's the truth. So I kind of just stay away from it.
I Google myself at least 5 times a day. What I really like to do when I'm feeling good about myself is to read the comment section. What everybody's saying about me.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize how much time and effort goes into filming just a brief moment on TV. What is, actually for both of you, what is the general time, many days it takes to film one episode? And for Peter, is there a distinct difference between filming for the theater and filming for TV?
Well, I'll take that first one. No, I mean, you know, if a plumber's fixing a sink or a bathtub or a toilet, he's still doing the same work. So, I mean, as an actor, whether you're filming for television or film, you're doing the same work. It's just you guys are watching it on a different venue. But I mean,
is the time frame different between film?
The time frame is different. I mean, TV, you're shooting what, 8 to 9 to 10 days?
Well, I mean, most shows shoot 7 to 8 day episodes. We shoot 10-day episodes, and sometimes we shoot 2 or 3 at once, which is really, really hard. Out of sequence, yeah. So basically, like this. Okay, so imagine going to work at 5:30 in the morning on a Monday, and you leave about 7 p.m. and all you did that day was get about 6 minutes, maybe 5 minutes of the episode done. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, that's what I said too. I'm like, whoa, really? 14 hours.
Well, in film it's even worse. Because in film you're shooting like 16 hours and you're doing like 2 to 3 minutes of filming.
Right, it's crazy.
So I mean, the film process is slower. Because they're getting more camera angles and
it can be.
They take more time.
Yeah, it can be slower.
But TV's it's faster. I mean, you can do like 6 to 8 pages a day, where on film you're doing like 3 to 5 pages a day.
Which I think as an actor sometimes is more fulfilling because you can take your time. You know, TV it's just like even if you didn't like what happened, they got to move on.
It's a lot of waiting too. We sit and wait a lot because they have to move lights around. So I think the hardest thing is keeping your stamina going for those 17 hours, because you know it's like you're going in the ring and then you're working for a minute or 2, and then you're sitting for like 10 to 15 minutes. Right, you got to get that energy to keep going. So a lot of Red Bull.
So that's when you Google yourself and read the comments just to keep yourself. All right, another question. I see you again back in the back.
Hello. So in the pilot episode, I might be wrong, but I don't think you guys say Superman once, except in that beginning sequence, like the introduction. Were you not allowed to say Superman in that episode?
No, we're allowed to. We just, I asked that question too. I thought it was kind of cool that we just alluded to him, but at the same time, it's Supergirl's show. You know what I mean? Like Superman has a lot of fans. We were trying to build Supergirl's universe, right? We're trying to. It was her thing. So we don't want to we want to borrow Superman's fans, sure, but we don't want to base it on that. So we try to build the myth of Supergirl. So
once you start having Superman in it too much, then it becomes Superman,
right?
Or Superman and Supergirl. So I think to keep it focused on her. They kind of just alluded to him, kept him in the shadows. And
it's time. It's time to be focused on a female superhero. You know, it's like it's way past time, really. You know.
Did they express to you that they had made a distinct decision to make Supergirl lighter than the Arrow universe and
You know what? I think it has a lot to do with the fact that our writers and our creators grew up on the Richard Donner, like Christopher Reeves, Superman films. And those were like light romantic comedy, kind of like, feel-good movies, but also with like super heroics. Like you could actually take the heroics out of those movies, and it's a workplace comedy and like, an awkward, love story and all these different things. Fish out of water type thing. So I think they wanted to keep it, just light and fun, because there's a lot of darkness out there. We want to bring smiles to the world. Okay. Yeah.
Let me back up to the front. I have my own question.
Uh-oh.
My favorite question to ask all the celebrities that come here. Are there any practical jokes that go on set?
I like to hit people with wrenches. It's really funny.
That's hilarious.
Biggest practical joker on set.
We didn't play any practical jokes.
I mean,
we laugh a lot, but when you're at work, there's a lot of work to be done. So
right. See, here's the thing. I play a lot of practical jokes on most sets that I'm on, but this set is so goofy. There's no need. It's like we're laughing. They'll say action. We're crying, laughing. We gotta go. Just wait, guys, wait. Like so it's kind of like this set doesn't actually need a practical joke because it's just so fun. It's really a lot of laughter.
It's a good group of people.
Yeah, it's a lot of laughter.
Good group of people.
Like I don't even know how we get serious scenes done sometimes. Like we're crying laughing half the time.
Now we know a whole lot of people in here are waiting to get autographs, so we've got to get both of these men a break.
Wait! I want to tell Mike. Can I tell one more?
I'm still going to take a couple
this
more
is a good
questions.
story.
But yeah, sure.
I'm going to ask myself a question. Have you ever been to Metropolis, Illinois? Yes, I have. I've been to Metropolis before. 14 years ago, I did a road trip from New York to LA. And I had an RV. I was with my ex-wife and my little 5-year-old daughter. And I saw a sign that said Metropolis, Illinois, hometown of Superman. I said, we have to stop there. And so I pull up with my RV. I don't even think it fit in the town, but because it was a really big one. And we went to the museum. I'm super excited, and I'm really giddy. And I walk in with my little girl, and I said to the guy behind the counter, I said, "Hey, got a super bathroom for my super little girl?" And he looks up, he goes, "Try the Super 76 across the street." And I was like, that's the best one ever. And that's when I fell in love with Metropolis, Illinois. So I'm glad I'm back here.
All right, we're going to take maybe 2 more questions so that these gentlemen can relax a little bit before they start signing their lives away again.
My question is for McCon.
I was like, wait, hey, what? It's a ghost.
I love you in True Blood, by the way. And I'm going to tell you, I have a question for you. You say you grew up with comics and Superman and all that. Yeah. Your stature, obviously you've shocked everybody with being able to play an amazing Jimmy Olsen and doing it your way. Have you ever been approached, because now all these superhero movies and TV shows, have you been approached to be a superhero?
No comment.
And one more. If you could be, who would you want to portray?
Elongated lad.
If I had my choice,
absolutely, your choice.
Green Lantern.
Yes. Thank you so much.
We'll still take one more, but I have a question. Makad came from modeling. Now, did you always have the desire to act, or did modeling lead to the career?
It was kind of like same time. Modeling actually took off while I was an actor. So I just kind of wanted to. You know what? I never wanted to be a model. I just wanted to hang out with girls. Actually, that's
why we learned to play guitar.
I'd like to see your model walk. You could just do the model. Cue some music.
Blue Steel, watch out!
The weirdest part is people go to school for that. I'm not kidding. And they make you have a book on your head. I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And people take it so seriously. But no, it just kind of, it was fun. I was in college, and it helped me pay for college, and Calvin Klein was really good to me. And
that's how models read. They put the book on their head.
Yeah. Like, and some of these kids are like, "What's the book? iPad? What do you mean?"
What are you talking about, Grandpa? Yeah. All right. We have one more question, so please don't stink.
Gotta make it a real good one.
And all the hands go down. Okay, Moms.
What's your favorite ice cream flavor? Pressure's on. Better be good.
It has to be a good question.
We all have, our favorite lines or favorite scenes that you guys have done on the show, but what are your favorite lines or scenes that you've had on the show?
Oh, that's easy.
Oh, okay.
So like I said, I was a Superman comic. I'm a Superman and a Batman fanatic as a kid, right? And so when I read the pilot, before I even got the role, I was reading the last scene of the pilot, and there's a moment where Jimmy Olsen says, "Up, up and away." I freaked out. I was like, "Ah! Mom, look! If I can just have pretty much what I did. So. And then hold on. Like when we were shooting the scene, like it was my first day at work. First day, and I was like super tired. We're downtown. It was early, and we're on this rooftop. And the director just kind of said, "Go." I'm like, "What? Nothing." And then we're doing this scene. And then like I was geeking out so bad, I was nerding out so bad I couldn't say up, up and away. I was like, up, up and away. Up and away. Up and away. Oh God, no. It was horrible. I finally got it.
I like Maxwell Lord's quips. When he always has like a funny quip, like someone like he'll be in the middle of a tense scene, and get me a Dr. Pepper, or like the Netflix thing, like he'll be in jail and say he wants a subscription to Netflix. But my favorite was what was that tentacle thing?
That's called Black Mercy.
Black Mercy.
Yeah.
And so when it was shriveling up in the corner, and I had a line that was like, "That's one messed up daffodil." And I was like, I didn't think it was gonna work. I was like, I don't know if I should say this. Like, Supergirl's just coming out of this coma, and there's some really dramatic stuff. And
I was like, say it, bro.
I was like, I don't know if this line's gonna, and it totally worked. I was like, because you have to have those lighter moments and the darker moments, and so I like that he brings that.
All right, let's thank these men for their time, their talent, their wit. And they'll be here all day, I guess.
Chicken waitress.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, brother.
Chaka Khan. Chaka Khan.
Go up. Take advantage. You get closer to the stage. Take a few while they're still here.
Oh, it's all right.
And I'm sorry that this is not the time to ask for autographs. If you're going to take a few pictures, fine, but we're